No, 1 year already. It's hard to believe that it's been 1 year already since our journey began. Since the first moment that we all partners met here at the Lindholmen Science Park and joined forces and see how we can reimagine what an inclusive digital city could be. Today we have a moment to pause, to reflect and to celebrate what we have built, what we have learned, and also where we are heading next. And some background, of course, as I always tell, this is our story, which also tells us who we are and why what we do matters. So European is our where, because our mission connects different cities without borders. Cityverse is our what, developing this new digital layer of urban life, linking people, places, and services. Uniting is our how. Collaboration is, of course, in our DNA. We work together across sectors and doing research using universal design. And for inclusiveness, that is our why, contributing to standards and tools across Europe. And then we have our 4 project objectives, our compass. First, we deliver a universal designed digital twin prototype tested by diverse users for European scalability. Secondly, we deploy an AI assistant technology that integrates services and ensures MIMS Plus compatibilities. Third, we drive strategic communication and outreach, engaging over 10,000 stakeholders across Europe. And fourth, we create then a sustainable, scalable business model that makes inclusive digital twins viable long after the project has stopped. Now, then we come to these project level up sessions, and these are where we grow together. These are not just training sessions, these are also collaborative practice ground for reflection and compliance and creativity. And we record these sessions, and I think they are available on our website and our social media, so you can look back on them if you missed anything. But we think that it's important to share and to spread knowledge, both within the project and also outside the project arena. And we have had, during the spring, we have had different sessions. It was interoperability, navigating with AI, compliance, inside and insights of the prototype, and expanding your knowledge within the Cityverse community. And last month we had around the who's in it for what. And these sessions are available then on our Teams platform and also on social media. And then we have today's session, and then in November we have universal design findings and research. So that leads us for today's session that we celebrate a bit and marks this first year kickoff. Now, I have invited some guests here in the sofa today.
Thank you.
We have Monica Ek, who's the co-lead in VP1, and then Jenny Lindström Beyer, who's the lead of VP2 and our normal Lindholmen Science Park, and then we have Johan De Pauli from Gothenburg and Co. Very much welcome. And then online we have VP5 lead Loredana Gavrarisco, if I pronounced it correctly. Hopefully I did. And let's go through some slides here, what we have today. And if you have any questions, you're welcome to ask them in the chat. Not sure if you remember this slide. This is our roadmap that we have. It's from the grant agreement and it was also in our application. It shows different tasks and also our milestones in the project. It's worth having a look. It's very condensed, but see also there in the middle that we are in the month 12. And now then, today is back to look a bit about in the rear mirror, and then we also will look ahead in today's schedule. Now I lost myself in the different slides here. Now, Monica.
Yes.
1 year ago we had the kickoff.
Yes.
And then we had
conference.
Yes, that was October 16. I can count on this one.
Yes.
Now, tell us a bit how long and how far we have gotten from now.
Today we are 259 days into the project, and that means 41.5% done. So we are almost halfway, and that's interesting to have this midterm review coming up in December. Yes, you can take the next slide. So 1 year ago, we had this kickoff conference here at Lindholmen Science Park, where we had an introduction of the project and the work packages. And we also had some workshops and a dinner at Heaven 23. We had the first General Assembly, and we also talked about the project vision. We had an introduction to the financial sessions and also talked about a bit of the legal aspect on the different agreements that need to come in place. So in next year, in November 2026, we will have a kick-out conference. And that is almost in the same way with 2 days here at Lindholmen Science Park as we are planning now, where we will present all our results. Yes, next slide.
Yep.
So if you remember this one from the kickoff, this is the picture that we brought to you from work package 1, which is Anna and myself. We work with the project management of this project, and we see ourselves as these two dogs trying to get this herd of sheep together and like trying to focus on the right direction. And of course that's hard when everything is agile and changing from time to time. But we also wanted to have this big heart with us, the greeting from Gothenburg, and we want to work with this in an amicably way. So this is work package 1, and you can take next slide, and you can see work package. Yes.
Soon. There we go.
There you can see work package 1 in the middle of our structure. And back to you, Anna.
Okay, thanks. Thank you, Monica. I think this shows a bit of the. We had this slide similar, very similar to this one during the kickoff conference, and it's still alive. I think if we go through just our different structure here, we have the General Assembly, who ensures the shared decision making, and we have the Executive Board in the middle. That keeps the coordination between the work packages. And then we have our Project Management Council that ties the project to Gothenburg, City of Gothenburg local strategies. And then we have the reference group who make sure the scalability across Europe. And then we have a list also in the green field, different EU initiatives that we are working on and contributing to. And of course we have done several deliverables and milestones so far in the project, and here's an overall look from the different ones. And the first number in each of these, for instance, D32 is then the work package, and then which delivery they have done in the order of maybe 5 or 6 deliverables across the project. And then we have 2 reporting times in the project, and midterm is 1, which is also on New Year's Eve. And then we close the financial reporting and also then the technical reporting, coming back to all deliverables and milestones done. So that's a big milestone in the project. And then the final reporting is then back in March 2027 when the project ends. Anything you want to add to this one?
No, but we have been working, of course, with the midterm in focus, but as soon as we have wrapped it up in December, I think it's very important that we focus on March 2027 instead. So,
and speaking of focusing on March 2027, that brings us to the next slide. Yes. So since we have now everything sort of on board, and we have all work packages has started to deliver, we also want to look ahead and work with the perspective, begin with the end in mind. So our own project work structure follow these: relevance, implementation, and impact. And that's sort of the same structure as we had in the application. It's the same structure as we have in the grant agreement, and also how we will report. And relevance is, of course, our 4 project objectives. Impact is very much the technical development and the user design or user research that we are doing. And impact is also communication, dissemination, and the business model. Anything you want to add on this one?
No. I think we can go on to the next slide.
Yes. So speaking of then on the kickoff, everyone was supposed to have each one slide with images. And this was the slide that you had, Jenny, with, when you were presented work package 2.
Yeah. So
coming a bit back to this one then. What was your thinking? Universal design was a pretty new term for many of us, and we didn't know so much about it. So how do you reflect when you see back on this slide a year ago?
So every work package lead was supposed to present our work package in 4 slides, and
this was yours.
I put like several photos in one, but this was of course a lot about like describing the process and how we were planning to work. So as you know, our normal association, we're an NGO working for inclusion for families of children with disabilities, and we work with design methods and universal design processes. So that's what I wanted to describe, how it's about like developing products and services that work for all, and not just going for separatistic solutions for accessibility in the first place. That is what these sketches are about, and it's really about what sometimes is referred to designing from the edges, or working with edge cases in order to find solutions that work for also solving more like norm-typical needs. Otherwise, typically data-driven models are like looking into the more norm-typical needs in the first place. So we want to work the other way around. And I described also the process about how we will go about doing this.
Yeah.
So we have, since then, we have worked with analyzing surveys and survey results. We have recruited a family panel. They have mapped their visits to different event areas. They have engaged in deep interviews. They have done tasks where they have analyzed existing digital solutions and given feedback. And all of that was something that we looked at together in a webinar that we had in March. So it's also recorded for you who wants to see it. It's on our internal SharePoint, and you can just reach out if you want to have a recorded version of that one. And then we had a design workshop together in April with WP4. So looking into like what types of functionality and solutions shall we go for in this like further development of the application.
Mm.
And now we are in the middle of like following up that, doing user testing and getting feedback from families within our network, but also engaging a larger, broader community in giving feedback on those initial sketches, and what's becoming soon an clickable prototype, hopefully.
Yeah, and we have four user stories. Should I
So
take
you
the
can
next
go-
slide, and maybe
yeah.
you can present those 4 user stories that we are sort of the groundwork here for the.
Yeah, so what we presented there in the webinar about those user findings is also described in our deliverable that we shared this summer. And that is also something I will come back to in the next level up.
Exactly.
Very generally, we can see the barriers that our target group typically meets in society today. There are about physical barriers, sensory stimuli, attitudinal barriers, and accessible information. So those were things from our finding research that we want to address, and also we decided to select a few user stories to work with in order to pinpoint some functionality to move forward with in the first round of the solution. And those were, as you can see here, families of children with a diversity of needs. So we have representatives here with using a wheelchair or having a cognitive disability, intellectual disability, and also representing social anxiety. We found those 4 user stories particularly interesting to continue with, because we could also see that the type of solution that we're looking into here could maybe solve for their needs. And that is what I list here as core functionality to test. What we're in the middle of now is like the making wayfinding digital in the solution accessible, and also going from exterior to interior environments, which is not typically found out there today. Another thing is sensory mapping. This is something that some museums and other spaces are looking into more and more now, I think, but doing this more interactively is asked for, and also new and could cater for many types of needs, but particularly for the needs that are addressed from our users.
Yeah.
And also getting to know the environments in advance. So you will show a bit about where we're working right now, Johan, in WP4, right? But it's about the immersive environment here and how that can be engaging for users that want to interact with the site or a place before going there. And how can you do that in an inclusive way?
Yeah.
And also a fourth one, which is a bit about planning and how you can get the type of information that caters for your needs. So typically accessibility information has all been grouped into one space if you think about the website or so, but it's not, the typical user doesn't need all of that accessibility info. You want something that cater for your needs, and that is like also true, of course, for other types of visitors going somewhere. You want to have the information that's needed for you. So that's where we're at the moment, and then I will go into more things about our findings and the research we've done in the next level up.
Yes, looking forward to that one. And I think, universal design is such an interesting topic and principle to work with. So I think, we have found different and many ambassadors working with universal design just so far. Super. Thank you very much, Emily. Then going for VP3, which is the digital twin, and then Erik Jansson couldn't be here, the VP lead, so stand in Monica.
Yes.
And this was then Erik's slide that he had during the kickoff, and what he was looking for in the VP3 accomplishment. Will you share a bit about where this was a year ago?
Yeah, the city of Gothenburg is responsible for the digital twin. So they have made some deliverables. They started out with a small test tile for Unite to start working with, and have since then been adding more and more details, preferably the accessibility details in the model, and they are working now for completing this into a quite large model with a lot of details and a high resolution. So they are working with the digital twin. So where do we take the user stories from Jenny's work is where we put it into the digital twin. And the way we are working with that is that we try to understand what do we need to put into the digital twin to meet the needs of our users. And that is mainly different kind of accessibility data. It could be how the terrain looks like, or if there are any benches or something that is in the way of crossing a street or something like that. So they really have deep dived into the details of these models. And a very important thing in the digital twin is the standardization, and here we are working with the different standardization initiatives like the local digital twin toolbox and also the cityverses and the MIMS. Of course, these are important things to where we want to share our way of working with digital twins and accessibility data to Europe. And the first thing that we have done is to complete the city GML structure with accessibility data. And we really think this is a very interesting way of working for this project, but the city of Gothenburg also see directly connections to other type of projects that they are working with to make this accessibility data as an ordinary tool in all of their work. So that is very interesting how we can scale this work both within the city of Gothenburg, but of course also to a European level, and to really try to contribute to these different initiatives. Yes.
And if we look a bit on, what's coming next in this work?
Yes, it's the detailed version of the digital twin with the accessibility data that they are working with at this moment. And work package 3 is also the work package that is due to deliver a little bit ahead, so everything will be in place to contribute to Johan's work with the work package 4.
Okay, good. And that was a excellent work. Lead over to you, Johan. You are then the work package lead for number 4.
Yes.
And you had these slides on the kickoff, how to present the VP4 work. And maybe you can start a bit with just explaining where you thought you were back then, a year ago.
It's interesting to see this 1 year on. Well, the 4 pictures represents first of all putting Gothenburg on the map. Then also like the AI functionality, we had a thought about like using avatars and also implementing the digital twin, and we are talking about the event area. So that's like where the 4 pictures are. I think what's happening, or what's happened in our work package that is interesting is like I didn't actually anticipate that we would talk this much about the data. Like we have the digital twin as the visualized model as you see in this picture, but now we're talking about more of the framework and the ground model of the digital twin and the GIS data and the BAM data and how we can connect that to the AI function. So I think that's been really, really interesting, how it becomes more of a how could we present data in a more relevant way. But I also think, like, from my perspective, coming from the DMO side of things, to put Gothenburg on the map was relevant when we started up, but now it feels like more of the taking the human approach, like putting people in the center to be able to present something that could look like the objective. Like, I think it's really interesting to see how we can work together, how we can learn from each other and inspire each other. So I think it's really interesting from like that's more technical side of like putting Gothenburg on the map, but it's become more of a humanistic approach, I would say, during this year. So it's been really interesting.
And if you really look back on this one about the AI development, because we know that's a sort of full speed train, more or less.
Yeah. So
the ideas we had back then and where we are now.
Yeah, exactly. But we can take the next slide, because what we are seeing is that we want to lower the thresholds to the city in a variety of ways. It's not necessarily one thing. It could be several things that could intertwine and like lowering thresholds in different ways. So what we are looking in that we have sort of a 2.5D map that could present the city, that could we could possibly implement a wayfinding system, how you can go from one point to the other, which is aligned with the user stories that we have. And then we are looking into how we can then use the virtual world, so you can visit it beforehand, and also implement the wayfinding in the 3D space as well, of course. But then when we talk about the AI solution, I think we should look at this in two perspectives. But there's the front end solution and there's the back end solution. So the front end solution is all about lowering the thresholds for the solution in itself. How could the relevant data that you would like on the fly be presented to you in a way that is comprehensible for you to connect to? So that's the front end solution. And then for the back-end AI solution, here's a variety of different things. But if we want to provide a relevant wayfinding system based on the needs that you have, we need to have some form of AI functionality to be able to present that in a way that is relevant. So we're looking at AI in different functionalities, but we're also looking into a planning, for some form of planning tool which could provide you with the information that you need as you need it, and also a flexible way of rearranging. If something happens during the day, which it always can have, stuff will automatically update, so you will get a relevant planning tool as you need it. So it's not like this one is not accurate anymore, and then the whole planning is just scrapped, like everything should be on a dynamic solution. And then we also looked into we are framing it as a pre-rendered content, but it could certainly be video material as well. I think the inspiration is Instagram stories. So for example, if you want to visit an arena, you will certainly need to go through a security check or whatever, and that could certainly be replicated for some. If we can show how that process is actually happening, or if you want to be shown where the accessibility toilets are, or where the emergency exits are, or how you lend a book, or this is there's a lot of content that could be provided through this, and that's just one nugget of information. But I think it's a good way for a lot of stakeholders to present their buildings, their services in a way that is hopefully more accessible. So that's where we are, and now we are into the design process of taking these sketches, since this is just the first steps of the design, and now implement it in a more graphic unified manual, and then start the development somewhere in November.
Because you have a deliverable now in the end of October, and then, as you say, on the design, and then moving forward. Okay, thank you very much, Johan.
Thank you.
We then go over to VP5, which is the business development, and here we had level up session just last month in September. So if you want more details than we covered today, you're welcome to, of course, tune into that one. And Loredana, you are with us here online. Hello.
Hi, hello.
Hello. And this is your image from the kickoff, but it's actually not yours, it's your colleagues, because you haven't started working at Iceberg at the time. But this was then Saki presented this one. So if you take it from a sort of a business development and maybe your first month coming into the project, can you reflect a bit on this one, please?
Yes. So in the past months, we had multiple discussions with the partners, and we organized two workshops, one on strategic partnerships and one on stakeholder mapping. The first had the role to understand how we can develop further the business potential for the project during the project, the CU project, and outside. And the second workshop, the stakeholder mapping, was somehow a reminder for us that we have multiple resources and which are the organizations who might be interested on our product or solution, let's say, and with whom we might collaborate when we have the prototype ready. So we have right now mapping with different opportunities, more theoretical ones and more concrete ones oriented for the business side. And in our deliverable, which is due this month, unfortunately, with some delay, we have the business model canvas to work on. And here we, with the help of the partners, we map to the key partners the key resources, what might be the revenue streams for the prototype. And we hope to have more concrete directions pretty soon. Um, the highest challenge for us right now is to decide together on which path the project might go. It can go to under administrative level, and the public administration might continue some innovation part, or maybe smaller consortium with the technical partners which were involved in developing the solution will continue in order to scale the impact. And looking at the future, I also have to mention about that. I think it's the next slide.
Yes, it's the next slide. Let me take that one.
Yes. Um, the most interesting thing and the most valuable thing for us is to make sure that we are creating some societal impact. Usually, accessibility picks sometimes or is the smallest straw, when other priorities will appear in a society. And I think based on what we are doing and what we are learning and discovering, that we might influence also on public policy area that accessibility should be a necessity, not just a checkbox. If we are looking at the small changes at the European level and the fact that they already started to look at the companies if their websites are accessible. For me, this is a good signal that accessibility might be in the future something relevant for all, and organizations will look at how they can make their digital solutions, but also physical spaces and solutions accessible. And I will close with one number that 1 out of 4 people from Europe have a disability. It's something known because maybe a doctor stated like that. But we do not know about the people who have anxiety, depression. Those are people uh, that are not documented very well on our legislation and research studies as European ecosystem. Next slide. I think I also have something.
This is your slide, actually. Everyone has to. No,
So
but
all this.
thanks, Loredana. I think you know that you have as this deliverable 5.1, as it says here on the slide. It's the business model, and that's where you should start. And then looking ahead, it's more market insights, as you say.
Yes.
Yes. So thank you for that. Then we move over to BP6, which is the communication and dissemination, and it's The lead here is a colleague of ours,
Yes.
Monica,
Yes.
Anne Rinaldo, but she couldn't be here today, so we cover up and also step
Yes.
in here instead of a case. And you prepared some presentation to this slide, where this was also
Yes.
back from the kickoff.
This slide is from the kickoff where Anne Rinaldo, who is responsible for Work Package 6, held a very beautiful presentation, but I would like shorten it down to just one sentence, and that is the storytelling is the key. That we need to tell this story in order to engage our stakeholders. And this work package 6 is about dissemination and communication, and it's very important for the reach out, of course. So we have an order to like scale and engage stakeholders from all over Europe. So this work package is of course very important.
Yeah.
And we have
And we have
started.
some promotion for the next.
Yes, we have started with a couple of reach outs within work pages, Instagram and LinkedIn, and of course on the web page where we have all these recorded level up sessions is where you can really find information from the project, and we are continuing to fill the web page with information. So yes.
Yeah, that's
anything
about
else about work package 6?
I think they also have they are mapping up now for 2 deliverables that they have in December.
Yes.
And it's about dissemination, but it's also collaboration with the different cityverses and EU initiatives that we have.
Yeah.
So those will be very interesting deliverables that we're looking forward to.
Yes, and of course at the web page you can also sign up for our newsletter.
Yes, that
So
should we
that's
also should
an
add.
important thing as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe
Good.
we go to next.
Yes, and
slide.
the next slide is a bit of what we actually now, when we know this much
Yes.
in the project that we have worked 1 year, what do we see at the end of the project, and also what's our contribution to the EU?
So
And
we can start with the first one.
yes,
And this is like connected to the things that Anna mentioned about trying to understand what is going to happen in March 2027. What do we see as the deliverables that we have at the end of the project? And the digital twin, we see it as a concept that could be scaled across the city, but also to be influencing others, working with digital twins as a service. And we have this accessibility application that Johan showed us. And it says better write than finish. And I think that's very important, that we really want to make the best solutions, even though we might not be able to finish everything completely. I think it's important to see that we are really trying to stretch the technology and have as a good result as possible. So this is our ground where we are trying out the new ideas. And as I mentioned, we also see that this ADEs for CityGML standards is also an important deliverable. And the contribution to the European Union is of course very important.
Yeah.
Yes, so we have divided that into 2 main sections. Is like we want to contribute with processes and methods, and of course the universal design. The importance of using universal design is one of our major contributions, we hope. That, and also the process for adding accessibility data into different projects is also important. And we want to inspire people. We want to inspire them by this platform and the application, of course, so people can copy and make their own things. And as we are working with very sensitive data, we think that this with GDPR and ethics also is very important, and something maybe to understand and to share with the European Union. And of course, the experience is trying to see how can you experience a city in a new way. Of course, we want to contribute with data and technology, and the standardization is of course very important, and also to see these AI-based solutions that Johan also were talking about. And contribution to the LDT toolbox, the Cityverses, and the MIMS is very important, and the similar initiatives, because they are not ready, they are in their early stages, and they are also building those initiatives as we speak. So we can really see here that we have a lot of possibilities to contribute to those initiatives. So that's very inspiring.
Yeah. Very good. Anything you want to add on this slide that you come to think of now when you?
No, I think like when we talk about data standardization, I think it's really interesting what we're doing now with CCTV cameras and how we can like connect certain things from the city to provide valuable data to the solution, and also like how we can structure like the city from this perspective. I think that could be inspiring as well. No, but I think, as I mentioned, like much of the findings is regarding data structure, but also like the governance and how you can build the framework for that. So I think like it's a lot of discussions regarding like the baseline for stuff rather than this is the cool little thing that we have up here. But we will certainly get there. But there's a lot of things happening below the ground, so to speak, right now. But I think that could be valuable as well for the deliverable for EU.
And
if
we
I'm gonna comment on one thing, I
Yes,
just wanted
do
to,
so.
what you just said about experiences, and I think this also is Twin as a service. So, and actually maybe that relates to the cool little thing of Lever, which I was thinking about the entry point, because I think the landscape is moving so fast now about how we interact with information, and it's a lot about not just a year ago it was about AI assistants, and now it's about AI agents everywhere. But what we can see in our user test is really about also this, as we say, the experience. You want to visually or immersively or virtually experience an environment, so you can decide for yourself. It's not always that you want to have an AI solution deciding for you. You also want to have that agency by yourself, and this is a way. What we're looking into here, I think, is interesting. We are like looking into both sides a bit and exploring those in parallel. But what we can see is like we have had decades of this website, very information heavy, lots of text, and that's not how we're going to interact and get information, I think, in the future. And here we can look into this pioneer group of our kids and youth and families, because they can't, they don't have access to this those websites, which are very like text heavy and so on. But this is a way. Actually, we had a user test this morning where parents said like, "Oh, this is a way for my youth at home to actually get the information about the library, because he could navigate his way to this space and go in there, and then that could be an entry point to the information. But logging into the website, going on like." Writing the URL or doing Google search and finding information that way is not natural for him. So I think in that way it's also pioneering, which is really interesting.
Perfect. Let's then move on to this slide. It's a bit of an ending slide, but 1 year down then, and more to come. And we want to thank you. We, as VP Leads, want to thank you for everyone who's involved in this fantastic project, and thank you for your creativity, your persistence, and your belief that we are building this together. CU project is more than a set of deliverables, although we track those ones down. But it's also a very great example of Europe's digital future, to be inclusive and responsible and digital, of course. So many thanks for great work everyone, and let's level up together then. And let's end with this slide I thought. Okay, let's see. Ta-da! Monica, you prepared this one.
Yes.
Yes, celebration slide.
Celebration for the 1 year that we've been working. So I just wanted Anna to ask you if there are any questions.
Yes, let's take any questions. And then I look back on my little computer while we have this fireworks. And I don't have any questions in the chat, but maybe you have some things you wanted to
You
add.
can see
Can we
if
stop
you-
the fireworks? I think they're really nice for some time. And then good.
yeah. Enough with the fireworks.
Enough
And,
with the
accessibility
fireworks.
reasons. I thought,
Yeah.
actually, I think it's
So any
but-
questions in the chat maybe?
No.
Yeah.
No, we didn't have any questions. So
Okay.
with that, we end for today. And thank you, Loredana, online back in Romania. Thank you for all of you
Yes.
here in Gothenburg. And
And,
we say as we usually do then.
Yeah.
See you soon.
See you.
Bye bye.
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 See you.
You.